Hi, team. I am excited to be back here today to talk to you about a topic that I think is overlooked when we're talking about AI solutions, AI investments, AI projects, and it is change management. And I'm here today to talk a little bit about why your AI investment needs change management. And we're going to get into it right now.
Round one, fight!
So I'm Marcus and I do management consulting. I focus primarily on strategy and operations, but I love AI. I'm going to grad school for it. And I love emerging technologies and understanding the intersection between strategy and these emerging technologies that we're trying to implement in our business. And today, I really want to talk about two topics, obviously, AI investments and change management, and why you need both together, why they should never ever be apart. Um, and I understand, like some of you all may have heard change management before, but it means a lot of different things. Just spoiler alert, I'm not talking about idle change management, which is its own thing, very close related cousin, but not exactly quite what I'm talking about here today. I know some folks are taught have learned about how AI can help change management and change practitioners. This isn't it either. Those that is a really cool topic, and maybe I'll do a video on that later on. But today I want to talk about your AI investment. Let's say you have a use case to implement an AI solution that's going to help your business. Let's say you're a manufacturing company and you want to know when your conveyor belts are likely to break. And there's certain sounds and certain images that really are the tall tale signs for that, a pending breakage, and you want to implement some computer vision or some a model to listen to the sound to analyze that and say, hey, look, the maintenance is due in the next week. We should do that ASAP, right? Or let's say you have a use case where you are looking to help your hospital and you're looking to implement AI to determine the holistic suite of services that a person may need based off of what they feel when they tell you what their symptoms are, right? And just to expedite the quality of service, right? Instead of kind of getting back there and then figuring it out and then getting folks organized, really getting that initial input and then trying to predict who or what services that person's going to need immediately. So you have this thing, this use case, and you want to implement it. Doesn't matter what the use case is. You can fill in the gap. And a lot of times, these use cases, these AI solutions, regardless of how much is spent on building this perfect model and deploying it and operationalizing it and all the things, hiring the PhDs and the ML engineers, um, those solutions face unexpected, although it shouldn't be unexpected, faces unexpected obstacles. And today I want to talk about one of the things that I think is necessary in your AI investment to make sure that you get beyond a lot of the obstacles that you'll face that are non-technical in your AI investment. And I kind of want to open it up by talking about some of the challenges that I've seen or I've heard about, either personally, either firsthand or by reading and or listening to some of my comrades as they've done some projects. Um, and some of those problems are the fact that AI investments, AI solutions, when they're implemented, they require transforming business processes. And I know that sounds pretty like duh, yeah, but I don't think we really sometimes think about what does that really mean to transform that process and the change that comes with that. And a lot of times that's not clear what that change is until it's implemented. And AI investments, they also a lot of times require upskilling of the business or within the business when um, sometimes we only think about the upskilling within our business analytics team or our AI team or our cognitive science team, whatever team you want to call it. You think about the upskilling there. You think about maybe the upskilling in your infrastructure team. But a lot of times the upskilling in the business that is completely missed, and we just expect that it will be um, just an easy game for the business to use this new AI solution in their process. And then a lot of times there's some confusion about uh, what the AI solution will do, right? And this can cause you a lot of heartache, right? You may have to battle a lot of misconceptions about what your solution is going to do for the business if you don't do change management well or at all, right? And these are just a few of some of the challenges. Some of you all who have been doing this for a while, you know there's a lot more, but these are some of the people and organizational and cultural challenges that you may encounter when you're trying to implement your AI solution. And so, before we get into talking about why your investment needs change management, I want to tell you what change management is. Some folks may not know, and I'm going to start with a very high level definition. I'm going to really break that down for you. But at a high level, change management is a collective term for all approaches used to prepare, support, and help individuals, teams, organizations in making an organizational change. And what that really means is all of these soft things that you don't think about when you're thinking about a technical implementation. It's taking care to think about, what does this change mean for our processes? What does this change mean for our people? What does this change mean for our teams? And how can I help them through that? What can I tell them? What can I do? What can I change? What is the change? And am I clearly communicating that to them? And how ready are they for that change? And how do I measure their readiness as we get ready for this change? That's that's what change management is. And it seems trivial, but it is really big, important, sometimes complex work, especially the larger your organization is, especially if your organization is grown through acquisition, whatever the case may be. It gets more and more complex the more complex your business is, or the larger the change is that your AI solution will affect upon your organization. And so, as you can already tell, it's really important. Um, but I'm going to index on a few reasons why it's important for your AI solution. Um, the first is that change management drives adoption of your AI implementation, right? Um, and by adoption, I mean you can't even start to measure ROI without adoption. And so you need something to enable that to make sure it happens. Um, Change management enables the ability to not only measure that ROI, but it also improves the overall employee experience when you are implementing this AI solution. And this is important. You may have a business that has been, the folks that are in those processes, they've been doing those processes for 10, 15, 20 years. Same way, right? And they know what they're doing, obviously, because you guys still have a business that's 10, 15, 20 plus years old. Um, and their experience with you trying to implement this AI solution may be the differentiating factor with whether they adopt it or not. Because sometimes it just comes down to trust. And if they don't trust it, or if they have a bad experience as the implementation is happening, or the change is kind of like happening to them, they may at kickoff time decide to secretly and quietly sabotage your project. And some of you all know this pain very well. And you don't want to have to fire folks or like have to handhold folks or whatever you feel like your solution is because they're not adopting it. You can get ahead of that and make this process significantly easier by establishing some change management as you're implementing these solutions. So it's definitely something to think about. But I love change management because it not only drives adoption, it drives commitment. And commitment is that level of engagement that happens after adoption. Commitment is when your business stakeholders really latch on to what you've given them and they're really taking ownership with it and they're really using it to drive their processes. Commitment helps the business stakeholders feel like this change is happening, is being done with them, and it's happening for them, right? instead of being done to them, which is a common thing with technology implementations. And I love this because it, when you do this right, you do change management right, and you drive adoption through to commitment, you will get an employee that says, I've embraced this change. And I really do believe that this is the best way to go. And it helps me to do my job better, more efficiently, and it's good for the organization. That's what you want at the end of your implementation. You want that the business to go and tell the good news gospel of what you've given them, because then it gives you more trust and capital with the business to do more AI improvement, AI implementations across the business. That's what you want. You don't want folks going, yeah, they implemented this thing, but I don't really trust it. That's not going to get you to where you want to be. And you might end up wasting millions of dollars because the business just rejects what you're trying to give them. Despite the numbers, despite your good stats and your bar charts and presentations, if you don't do change management right, they will still reject what you've given them. I also like change management because it helps me, it helps you to uncover the knowledge gaps. You get to figure out what is the right knowledge that you need to give for the right audience. And this is important. It's important partly because we assume that the business really knows what we're implementing and they know how to use it in their process, right? And sometimes we get all the way to implementation and we're like, all right, we're going to train everybody on how to use this thing. And everyone is just jolted and they're like, whoa, what's happening now? Wait, my process is changing like how? This is important because it also helps you to figure out, what do you need to communicate? What are the things that you need to communicate per persona group or persona, whatever you want to say, in that process or in the organization? What do you want to educate them about? And change management really uncovers their beliefs about what's coming early so that you can get ahead of that and have the right alignment across the executive board and also in the business, right? And at the end of this, you should have a training plan and a communication plan that helps you to communicate what is changing, that helps you identify who needs to be trained on what, who needs to learn different parts of this, and how does it help them to do their job better. So again, at the end of this, you have business stakeholders that are committed. You have business stakeholders that are excited. You have business stakeholders that latch on to your solution, to your new thing that is helping them in their process. Now, there is a lot more to change management, and I did not want to make this a change management video. If you want to learn more about change management, reach out to me. I've done a few projects. I know some really smart people in change management, or I can pass you some resources. This isn't purely about change management, but it's to make the case that whenever you are doing any AI project that you plan to deploy into your business, you should be thinking about change management. You shouldn't even just think about it. You should be planning for it, accounting for it, and making sure it's a part of your work streams to affect change in your business so you can really actualize the ROI that you want to actualize as a part of this implementation. So I want to know in your previous AI projects or current AI project or planned AI project, do you have change management accounted for in it? If no, if you did a project and you didn't do change management, I want to know, was it still like successful? If it was successful, did you have some obstacles and challenges that I kind of went over in this YouTube live? I want to know. I want to know, like, how did that go for you? How did change management help you, or the absence of it hurt you? And I want to know, what questions do you have about AI and change management? Just throw all of that in the comments. I'm looking forward to engaging with you all. And in the meantime, guys, be well and stay strategic. And I'll